Semi-Pros.
Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. I'm Brandon. With me is my fellow Semi-Pro, Ryan.
What up?
Ryan, I'm going to skip the how are you today because it's just one of those days.
Man, it's been a Monday, that's for dang sure.
All right, so we'll jump into the fun stuff to start off. We got some results from Devon versus the coin. So far this week, Devon is currently second in our group with a 7-5 record, bringing her total right now to 87-61. She is currently beating the coin and will beat the coin this week.
Oh, really?
The coin is 4-8 this week.
Mm.
I'm sure she appreciates the sound bite on there.
Hooray, you beat a coin.
Devon, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so I'm just going to mention here that Devon is currently second in the league
That's right.
For this week.
for this week.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, but Barber is not going to beat the coin this week.
Can we choose the same?
No, you have 4 points this week.
Yeah, the coin has 4. We have one game tonight.
Brutus Barber's picks 4. Oh, I don't know. Who'd you pick?
I picked the Rams. I don't know. I don't remember who the coin picked.
Me neither. But Barber could either lose to the coin or beat the coin. Or tie it.
Yep, those are 3 options.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
And my day is ruined. Okay, anyway, congratulations to Moochie, my cousin Colton Venup. If you're watching, man, congrats. You did the best in the league this week. No matter who you pick tonight, nobody can catch you.
Well, Devon can tie him.
Devon could tie you, but I'm sure you both picked the Rams, I think. I don't know. I can't see it until the game starts. So, I mean, you're winning now. You could win. You guys could tie. I don't know. But
Anything could happen.
Not anything. He can't lose.
no, he can't. You can only tie or win.
Wow.
Anyway, let's get to week 11 because, you know, I texted Barber yesterday. I said, man, these games have been kind of boring this week. Even the upsets were boring. Not even fun
Even
to
the
watch.
close games were boring.
Fantasy football was boring to keep up with. I mean, I had 2 of my studs out, Kyler Murray and Alvin Kamara out this week, so expectations were low but still frustrating. Really wanted to play Jimmy G tonight, but waiver wire it wasn't until after 125, and I just couldn't risk it. So I had to put in Carson Wentz, who did fantastic. Anyway, I'm looking forward to a better week of football. Okay? So to start, whoa. Sorry. It's really small font this time. There's only 2 bye weeks next week. There are 2 teams on a bye next week, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. So if you're playing somebody with Stafford or Kupp or Darrell Henderson, you got lucky. And the Denver Broncos. Not a whole lot missing from there since two running backs for them equals 1 playable running back in fantasy football. So we'll get on with it. To start off, Thursday night game. Okay? New England, who just stomped the Cleveland Browns, are taking on an embarrassed Falcons team in Atlanta.
I think the embarrassment will continue.
Well, it's not much of an embarrassment because the Patriots are favored by 5.5
Well, I picked
points.
the Patriots.
Okay, that's fair. Probably a good pick. These last couple games, Matt Ryan has not looked good. And he started out so mediocre, then got hot, and back to mediocre.
Who did the coin pick?
Oh, the coin took the Falcons.
Off to a good start.
And they're gonna defend. They're gonna shock the world. I've been telling Brandon we got to pick one game that just doesn't make any sense because Dolphins over the Ravens doesn't make sense. Washington football team over the Buccaneers doesn't make any sense. Last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Buffalo Bills doesn't make any sense. There's always a win that just doesn't make any sense.
Sorry for the shaking camera. The dog stepped on the tripod.
They'll be okay. All right, anyway, that's Thursday Night Football. So the next game we got coming up is Colts at the Bills. The Bills are favored by 7.
Pick the Bills.
You picked the Bills. They bounced back pretty good this week, but the coin is taking the Colts, and you know what?
That might be Ryan's upset of the week.
I don't think. How can you say that's an upset? The Colts have been playing really well. I think they've won 3 of their last 4. They lost to the Titans, but
I don't know. Being a ratings slave worked out pretty well for me last week.
well, the Bills got beat 2 weeks ago by the Jaguars, 9-6. So I'm just not impressed by
Jaguars.
Not impressed. They're awful. Anyway. Next game, Ravens favored by 6, travel to Chicago to take on the Bears.
Ravens.
Maybe. I mean, the Bears got shafted against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football or Monday Night Football last week. Man, that's just bad for the NFL. Anyway, here we go. We got another barn burner coming up. Detroit Lions travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Browns are favored by 10.
Pick the Browns.
Oh, after that embarrassing loss yesterday to the New England Patriots,
They've got a lot to prove now.
they do, and they're coming. But wait. The Lions can no longer go 0-17. They can go 0-16-1. They tied yesterday with the Steelers. That's why nobody got a win or loss for that game.
Gotcha.
The coin took the Lions. I don't know if I said it, but the coin also took the Ravens. So, again, you're going to do really well against the coin, or you're going to lose to it. All right, next one. Houston travels to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans.
Titans. According to my research.
According to your research, the Titans no longer have Derrick Henry.
Oh.
So you sticking with it because they're still favored by 10.
I'm going to stick with it. But maybe you should pick it as your grand upset.
I wouldn't doubt it at this point. Nothing's going to surprise me. I mean, Carolina beating Arizona as badly as they did in Arizona was just wow. But the coin took the Texans. Just so you know. You got a text message.
Come on.
All right, well, Miami's traveling to New York to take on the Jets. Jets.
Did you skip one?
Jets.
Did you skip one?
No. Yes, I did, but I'll go back to it.
Okay. I picked the Dolphins.
Yeah, they're favored by 3. And the coin also says the Dolphins will win that game. Okay, we got to backtrack one game because this font's really small and I'm blind. Can I maximize? Ooh, look at that. Oh, beautiful. All right. Green Bay off an impressive shutout victory against the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Heading to Minnesota to take on a division rival, the Vikings.
2 cold weather teams.
Well, the Vikings play in a dome. The Packers do not.
Well, that's why they're going to lose.
Wait, who's going to lose?
The Vikings.
Oh, so you're picking the Packers.
Picking the Packers.
Well, the coin took the
I like
Vikings.
the Packers.
The Vikings just beat the Chargers in L.A.
Is Aaron Rodgers back yet?
Yeah, he played yesterday. He didn't perform fantasy relevant-wise, but he got the W. Coin took the Vikings, coin took the Dolphins, and you took the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
All right, New Orleans and the Saints, they travel to the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 1.5 points.
I picked the Saints.
Well, the Eagles just came off of a crazy win over the Browns. Man, what a crazy week, dude. What a crazy
I
week.
think it was a fluke.
Well, the coin took the Saints as well, but the Eagles are a favorite at home, but not by a whole lot. All right, next you have your probably two of the biggest upsets I thought pulled off this weekend. Coming head-to-head this week. Washington football team travels to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Stop licking the floor.
Went back and forth on this one a lot.
Well, do you want to know who the favorite is?
I went with the Panthers.
The Panthers are favored by 2.5, and the coin also says the Panthers.
Seems like a good bet then. If I'm trying to beat the coin.
Maybe. Well, Washington football team did lose their tight end or their defensive end, Chase Young. That
More
dude's a
reasons
monster on
to
the
pick
defensive
the
end of the
Panthers.
ball. All right. 49ers all the way from San Francisco, traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. 49ers are favored by 5.5 on the road.
49ers, that's what I picked.
Okay, well, the coin also said 49ers. This is a little surprising to me. This spread, or not spread, over, what is it called? Cover?
Spread.
Spread. Bengals favored by 1 traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, who got shellacked last night by the Chiefs.
Went with the Bengals. I was
Okay.
a little torn, but that's what I decided on.
Well, I mean, the Bengals are coming off of a bye week. Raiders are coming off of an upset, or a bad loss. So we'll see. We'll see. But the coin said Raiders. Coin said Raiders.
All right, well, I'm going against the coin.
That's fair. Next, I mean, these two teams really impressed me this week, and now they get to face off. Dallas Cowboys traveling to Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, to take on the Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 2.
I went with the Chiefs.
Bold strategy, Cotton. That's what the coin
Pick the
said.
favored team.
Yeah.
It's a bold strategy.
Favored by 2 at home is
Not great.
not a whole lot.
It's just
It's basically
basically
a
saying you're-
half-point favorite in the neutral zone, neutral stadium.
You're a 1-point underdog in a neutral stadium.
Okay, there. Okay, so
But it's not a neutral stadium, so. Oh.
I think the coin took the Chiefs with you, but this next game, Arizona Cardinals are favored by 2, traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Now, I think this spread gets a little bigger if Murray ends up playing next week. I mean, he's had 2 weeks to rest up that ankle, but who do you got, Cardinals or Seahawks?
I went with the Cardinals.
Well, they have Russell Wilson back over there in Seattle, so I don't know. This is a tough one. Tough one. But the coin also said Cardinals. I'm going to say it right now. If Murray doesn't play, I'm going to take the Seahawks. If Murray plays, I'm taking the Cardinals. Next game. Steelers travel to LA to take on the Chargers, who are favored by 3.5 points.
I decided to pick the Steelers.
They
Gotta
just,
go against some of the ratings, right?
well,
Gotta pick a couple upsets.
okay, that's fine, but the Steelers just tied a winless team at home.
So you're saying I should change my pick?
No, I'm just saying, if Ben Roethlisberger plays, I like this pick. But the Chargers are favored by 3.5, and the coin also said the Chargers.
Is Ben not playing?
He didn't play last week. He has a hurt boob.
No. He tested positive for COVID.
That's very different from
self-reporting
what Ryan
symptoms.
said. It's very different.
Well, he's been battling a hurt boob all year, so
Well, knowing that, I think
basically Big Ben's
I
a
changed my
boob.
mind.
You can't change your mind.
Well,
She can.
Okay.
Let me.
Okay, fine. Well, Ben Roethlisberger, if he's vaccinated, he can play next week.
He's still showing symptoms, so it's a little more
Either way,
complicated.
he's gonna be. Not
It's Sunday.
Good.
That's Sunday
He's not
night.
on his A game.
It's Sunday night.
Not on his A game.
Well, it's pretty old.
I have
for-
regrets. I'm going with the Chargers.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so bringing up the rear on Monday night. Bucks are favored by 11.5 points, hosting in Tampa Bay the New York Giants.
Seems like a no-brainer to pick the Buccaneers.
It was such a no-brainer that even the coin took the Buccaneers.
Coin literally has no brain.
Exactly.
Alrighty.
Girls, I'm messing with you, sweetheart.
That's all, folks.
Okay, do we have an exit?
No.
Just me leaving.
I don't know. There's too many things on there.
There's not that many.
Sorry. Sorry.
Devon, thank you for coming on again and making your picks.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
and entertaining us with
One-
your just taking all the favorites the whole way through.
I thought long and hard about my choices.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
One thing I did consider why she was taking her picks, you know the scene at the end of Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Oh, they just
They
get
get on with it.
Yeah, on with it. That's not a
We need that drop.
All
Because
for-
someone gets a little long-winded over here.
Well, somebody likes to steal the show, so
Can't help it.
no, it's me.
All right, so we'll move on to I've actually got a new name for the waiver wire ads.
Oh, what is it?
It is Brandon's Brilliant Ads.
Oh, God.
I figured we just needed to come up with a new name.
The triple. No.
Nailed it.
But no, I figured we just needed to come up with a new name for it because waiver wire ads is just kind of.
Brandon's Brilliant Ads.
I had to try to go with an alliteration in there.
That's hard.
Yeah, with B's it kind of is.
Yeah.
All right, this week it's another bad week for waiver wire ads. This whole year seemed like a bad week for waiver wire
There's
ads.
not much. I mean, a couple years ago, you had Alvin Kamara bust on the scene. Well, that's like 5 years ago now, but still.
But we'll kind of move on.
There's not a lot of.
Ramondre Stevenson, he's my first one listed on here. It's unsure what kind of a role he's going to have when Harris is back.
I think
I'm
he's
not
the
saying
he's the clear-cut number 2 RB there.
Yeah, he's the number 2, but I'm not saying they pick him up and start him right away. He's probably more of a pick up and bench stash. But he really showed it. He really looked good this week.
I mean, he showed that he could be the RB1 in New England. I mean, 20 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a couple receptions, I believe.
I mean, the great thing with him, something Harris doesn't do,
Catch the ball.
he catches the ball. So when he's out there, you don't know what they're doing. Where it used to be Harris, they're running the ball. Bolden, White, or Taylor, they're throwing.
Which is funny because everybody always peppers these darn running backs out of Alabama. They don't catch the ball. They don't catch the ball. They don't catch the ball. That's what they did at Alabama. They caught the dang ball. Damian Harris caught the ball. They're just not using. It's just scheme and how you use your personnel. And I don't know. Maybe they just like look at Damian Harris and go, "No, you're gonna run between the tackles and that's it." I don't know. But Stevenson. Yeah, I think he's a no-brainer. If you can go get him, you can go get him.
This next one, it's a deep league ad, probably more dynasty than anything. Deontay Foreman.
He's definitely looked like the best back in Tennessee
He
since
has.
the departure of Derrick Henry.
The thing is, it is a true timeshare.
Yeah,
And the only way one of these running backs are relevant is if they score a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean they're touchdown dependent, and it's hard to play him, man. It's hard.
But Foreman, he's looked the best in 2 games. He had the most work last game, but it is a very true timeshare. It's almost split 3 ways evenly.
Yeah.
My next one, there's not a lot out there for wide receiver.
No, I'm gonna add one too from the same team though.
So I went with Deontay Harris. He's had a few games where he scored you double-digit points in a row. He's only 12% rostered.
Tre'Quan Smith.
You can add yours. I don't care.
Yeah, so my guy here, Deontay Harris, he's been looking good, especially these last 3 weeks, I believe. He's looked pretty solid, but Tre'Quan Smith had a couple of receptions on Sunday, and he looked good. He's getting separation from the defense. He's not afraid to run over the middle, which I think is where Troutman in New Orleans, flourishes. But I think with
Troutman
Smith
had his best game with 5 receptions
for only
last
32
night.
yards. Yeah, but I mean, Tre'Quan Smith coming back. He looks healthy. That would be one of my waiver wire ads if you can't get Deontay Harris or Christian Kirk or whoever.
Deontay Harris in the last 3 games, he's put up 20 or double-digit fantasy points. So
yeah, that's not bad.
It's definitely a good start with that.
And I'm not saying pick Tre'Quan Smith up and play him.
And Tre'Quan Smith, he's 65% rostered.
Really?
He's really only had good games. He had 12 points against Tampa Bay, 8 points against Atlanta, 14 points against Titans.
So he's not doing bad. I mean, he's a solid flex.
He's
Flex on
a
a
little
bye
bit of a roller coaster ride right now, but
Flex on a bye week.
sometimes you just gotta shoot your shot, go with those low floor, high ceiling guys.
Yeah.
All right, and then the next 2 I have both tight ends on here. It was a rough week for tight ends if you rostered Gesicki or T.J. Hawkinson.
You know what? I have both of them. And I thought after Thursday night games, I was like, oh, Gesicki, 0 points. Okay, great. I'm glad I didn't start him. Hawkinson and Gesicki are the number 3 and 4 tight ends in the league. Gesicki's number 3 and Hawkinson's number 4.
Yeah.
No, Hawkinson throws up a goose egg too. Like, come on, man. I could just use just like a reception for 5 yards would even help, man.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Now
But
Matt Gay scored 11 points tonight.
I will say, one of my favorite tight ends that's emerged this year.
Yeah, you've been high on him all year.
He's one that I beat the drum for last week. I'm putting back on here again because he's still not highly rostered. Dan Arnold at 36%.
And it doesn't. I don't think it matters who's that quarterback there. Wait, no, he's not in Carolina anymore. Sorry, Trevor Lawrence likes him.
Yeah,
he's
been the
targets.
most targeted receiver.
Yeah.
I think 2 weeks in a row, or not receiver, most targeted option 2 weeks in a row.
Receiver, we got it. Yeah, catching the ball.
And then the other one, Tyler Conklin. He's getting targets. He's
Especially in the red zone. It's like Hunter Henry. He just catches Hunter Henry. Conklin, go for it. Yeah, I'll add Hunter Henry and talk about him after this, too.
Well, Hunter Henry, he's been fortunate not to have Jonnu Smith these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but he has a touchdown in the last 7 games. He has at least one touchdown in the last 7 games.
Fair. I mean, that's your guy.
6 of
not
7.
mine.
I might have to go.
I mean, Hunter Henry has talent. I'm not going to argue that one.
I don't know what you're reading.
It's just notification for the night.
But yeah, I mean, Conklin's getting the target share. He's getting the snaps on the field. Man, that's what you really need out of a tight end is who's going to be on the field and who's going to run routes and who's going to get targets.
I mean, who better to kind of take the pressure off of you than Thielen and Jefferson?
That's true too.
And we've seen it with Cousins in the past. He's liked his tight ends.
Yeah.
Reed.
Rudolph.
He's had Vernon Davis. Rudolph. Yeah. He likes to go to his tight ends. All right, and then my QB and defensive streamers for this week. So I've got 3 of them on here.
What's up, Stoic Snake 89? I'm not sure who you are, but what's up, man? Stoic, I like it. Go for it.
For QB and defensive streamers, my first one is Jimmy G against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense really, other than the Bills, they haven't been able to stop anybody.
Nope, which is crazy, man.
Yep. And then Tua, I think they did say he is going to start this week.
Yeah.
He's playing the Jets.
Yeah, he will be starting. He's been named starter versus the Jets.
And then this is only if he plays.
What's up, Piku? Hey, man, how you been? You playing fantasy football this year? Ask us your questions. I'll answer.
My next one, if he plays, Cam Newton against Washington football team. He showed his comment yesterday. They asked him how much of the playbook he knows.
2 touchdowns worth. Well, I mean, moving forward, that might not be enough, but he's got another week under his belt to prepare. So
yeah, and he's always a threat in the red zone. So it's hard to kind of. He could take away a little bit from McCaffrey.
I wouldn't worry. You're still plugging McCaffrey.
Oh, you're still playing McCaffrey, but I'm just saying he could vulture a couple touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, CMC's still going to get his 10 receptions a game. There's 10 points plus all the yards, and he's going to get his rushing yards. I mean,
no, I'm not saying anything like against Christian McCaffrey. But I'm saying Newton has that ability to make himself a viable QB1.
Yeah, at this point in the season, though, for Christian McCaffrey, touchdowns are just icing on the cake. He's gonna get you 20 points.
All right, and so my defensive streamers for the week. I was kind of surprised that this team was so little rostered. The Browns versus the Lions.
Tom Brady let down everybody this week. Not me personally. I never draft him, but
question on
TB12. No.
Yeah, he was responding to a question on Twitch. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
My first defensive streamer is the Browns versus the Lions. The Browns are only 30% rostered.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I have a chance.
Nope, they're rostered in our league, I believe.
I'm just gonna roll with the Cardinals. One bad week, can't throw your whole team out after one bad week. Even though I want to.
You always want to after a loss.
And then my next one, team. Trade them all.
Yeah, my next one is the Titans at the Texans. Now, the Texans, they definitely could be better. Tyrod's got a week or a couple weeks back. But
back getting first team reps.
The Titans have started to look really good lately.
I mean, their defense has been carrying them, especially against LA and Kansas City. Sorry, LA Rams, Kansas City, and then even Buffalo. I mean, that's going back 5-6 weeks, I think. But yeah, this defense is pretty solid.
And then the next one I kind of wanted to bring up, I didn't have on here. It's the Green Bay Packers.
They're not gonna get shit. They're not gonna put up shutouts, but they're
not going to put up shutouts.
they held
but
the Chiefs to 7 points.
yeah, they've been on it in the last few weeks. They've held Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson to 34 combined points. They're coming out and they're playing well, and that's without Jair Alexander and another one of their big defenders.
Yeah, so if you're running DFSs, try to get the Packers.
They might be a good pickup this week, anyways, for fantasy. I think they're playing. Yeah, they're playing the Vikings this week, which the Vikings are a good offense, but they're not the caliber of these other three teams.
No. I'd like to see what they do against Tampa Bay or Dallas. Could be fun to watch.
Yep.
Playoffs.
All right, so we'll move on to our Week 10 recap.
All right. What about this embarrassing game?
So Thursday night started out.
Oof.
It just started the crazy week. The Ravens at the Dolphins. Dolphins won 22-10, and it wasn't a very interesting game to watch.
No, it was probably the most boring football game I've ever watched, and I've seen Pee Wee teams end in scores of 6-0. It was just bad. It was not fun to watch.
I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's starting to throw a lot, and
43 pass attempts this game. But is that an indicator of not being successful?
I think it's just that they don't have the running game. I think they need the running game more than we thought they did.
Well, I mean, Mark Ingram left, and look how well he did.
Well, they let him go, actually.
But yeah, they let him go. But
they've lost Dobbins. They lost Gus Edwards.
Yeah, they lost their 2 starters coming into the season, or their 2 top guys.
And I mean, as much as we both ripped on Lamar Jackson early in his career and why he was at Louisville, he's actually turning into a decent passer.
I mean, 26 of 43. That's about 65%.
But yeah, you're gonna run
65%.
You're gonna run with Jackson if you have him. Bateman, he was the leading receiver on this team. 6 receptions, 80 yards. Now a lot of that came in junk time, but
yeah, just trying to get the ball down the field there.
Watkins was a complete non-factor. In fact, he hurt this team.
Yeah, I mean, he had negative fantasy points this week.
And then Marquis Brown. This is one of his worst games of the year. He was I know wide receiver 5 before this game. You're running him out there if you have him. And then Mark Andrews.
Doing Mark Andrews thing. 18 points.
He's a big target monster.
18 points out there to this week. I mean, Mark Andrews, I think, is the number 2 tight end overall this year.
I'm not sure on that one.
It's Kelsey, Andrews, Gesicki, Hawkinson, and I have no idea who's number 5. But George Kittle is number 20.
Yeah, well, he also missed some games this year.
Right. But he'll be back up there.
As for the Dolphins side, Brissett wasn't playing poorly, and then Tua came in and kind of closed it after Brissett was suffering from a knee issue. But Gaskins, man, this guy's hit or miss. Squid's Giant Show, we'll get to your question after this game. The real thing is here, both quarterbacks, they kind of spread the ball around this game.
Yeah.
Wilson 4 receptions, Ford 4 receptions, Waddle 4 receptions, Shaheen 3. Gesicki had 7 targets.
7 targets, but nothing was
catches.
even in the vicinity of them. So we got Squid's Giant Chode. Hey man, you're up 16.2, and you have Higbee and IU going against. It just says asterisk and Stafford. Can I hang on? Well, I don't know. It just says star. I can't. It's got to be a cuss word. So who in the NFL has a name with a cuss word?
I'm not sure.
Elijah Mitchell? No. I'm not sure. Yeah, man, playing Heineke this week was actually a really good call. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I said during the game, like, he has the number of the Bucks.
Yeah.
He played him strong in the playoffs last year. Rams defense.
Oh, Rams D. Get it.
Well,
and I think you can. Yeah, I don't know why it starts either, but Rams Def.
I don't know.
I don't know. But, yeah, I think you're good. Yeah, I mean...
It could be Rams D, and it just...
Basically, you just need Higbee and Ayuk to not get outscored by Stafford and the Rams defense. Yeah, man, it's gonna be close. I wouldn't hold your breath on this one, but I think you're gonna have a good shot because I think, look, if Stafford throws to Higbee, it helps Higbee more than it helps Stafford.
Yeah.
Depending on your scoring type, right? Our completions are 0.25 points.
Yeah.
For a quarterback, and receptions are 1 point, so that's a 0.75 differential. I mean, hope Higbee gets a good game. I mean, Ayuk, he played really well last week. I just don't know if the Rams defense is going to get a lot of tackles for loss or a lot of sacks on Jimmy G. It's not very mobile, but the 49ers have an okay offensive line.
All right, and
I think you'll be good. I think you should hold on.
And then we'll go ahead and move on.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Yeah, I mean, Higbee, so it's all yards and touchdowns for quarterbacks. I mean, hopefully a lot of those targets go to Higbee and help you out there. Sorry, man, you move out. You move on.
Yep, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. This game, I don't know that there's a lot to talk about. The Falcons at the Cowboys. Dallas won 43-3.
Hey, Piku, sorry about the Dirty Birds, man. Wait, no, you're a Giants fan. Yeah, you're a Giants fan. They didn't lose this week.
But the Falcons, the big news that came out
Why
is
was I thinking of
Cordero Patterson, he suffered an ankle injury. He was in and out of this game. I think they're saying he's most likely not going to play this week since it's a short turnaround on Thursday. Gallman, though, he's an interesting guy to keep an eye on. He definitely looked better than Davis did.
I would even go as far as to say Gallman's probably the beneficiary of this more than Mike Davis is.
Definitely.
I mean, Gallman hasn't had the touches. He hasn't had the carries. He's a little bit fresher. I mean, even in garbage time against the Cowboys, he looked pretty solid. He looked fast. He looked swift. So we'll see. Yeah, them Cowboys did the damn thing.
Yep, and for the Cowboys side of it, I mean, it's the usual suspects there. Nothing really to talk about. Lamb left with an arm contusion, but he said he's going to be fine this week.
Yeah, and that's a good point, man. Pitts, you're still throwing Pitts out there. You have to. And Pitts will really, I mean, 4 receptions, 60 yards, in a complete and disastrous game by Matt Ryan. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of attention. There's not a lot of weapons on this Falcons offense, but I still think you have to throw Pitts out there. You have to trust in him. I mean,
he's so athletic that he's always got that shot.
Yeah, I mean, he has 2 games this year where he's put up 30 points and they were back to back. I think once Ridley gets back here in a couple weeks, he'll be just fine.
If he gets back.
I mean, IR should be back.
Well,
we'll see.
He left due to personal reasons, and we don't know. Nothing's really came out on that.
Right.
He has to miss a minimum of 3 games. I think next week will be his 3rd game.
Yeah, so you're right. New England does a really good job at shutting down the biggest threat of the opposing offense. So Pitts could be in for a rough one this week. I agree, man. It's going to be tough.
Yep. So our next game, the Saints at the Titans. This game was actually a good one.
You didn't go through any of the Cowboy stuff?
We talked about it briefly.
Oh,
there wasn't much
guys.
to talk about. It's just
he's talking with Saban. I didn't know that, but all right, you go through your stats with the Saints.
As I was saying, this was actually one of the few exciting games I thought.
Yeah, I mean, at least it went down to the wire and had some implications on it.
Yeah, definitely be Ryan, and that's something we talked about on Thursday. That I thought Gallup was going to hurt Schultz, but that also could have been game script as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think really there's so many weapons in Dallas. I mean, you got Cooper, Lamb, Gallup is back, Zeke, Pollard's a good receiving back out of the backfield.
I do think Gallup is gone after this year. His contract is expired, and you've got Cedric Wilson waiting in the wings. There's no reason to re-sign Gallup.
No, but I mean, still, it doesn't help Schultz. Yeah, there's so many targets in Dallas that it's hard to trust anybody besides Lamb and Zeke.
Yep.
You're only two guys, but yeah, I mean, Pitts isn't until Ridley gets back. Pitts might be struggling a little bit. It just depends on matchups and everything. I mean, his athleticism and size is good for him, but we're gonna move on to this Saints Titans.
So this Saints game, you gotta start wondering, is Sean Payton gonna turn the hill? Like, Trevor Siemian hasn't looked bad, but if they're not winning, it's hard to keep justifying starting Siemian.
I mean, he's at 19 of 34 for 298 and 2 touchdowns. That's not a bad game. It's about a 55% completion percentage. It's a lot better than where Jameis Winston was at. The yards as well, the touchdowns as well.
Well, he's throwing more than Winston was.
Yeah, and you're when you don't have Kamara, I guess you're gonna have to throw a little bit more. But I mean, that's not a bad stat line. No. I know you didn't get the win, and really, it's not the offense's fault. I mean, they played a tough Tennessee defense, and the kicker missed 2 extra points. This game should have went to overtime, whichever way you want to spin it. But I think they stick with Siemian. But I mean, that's a good point. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton finagled his lineup a little bit and said, "We're just gonna start Hill."
Yep, and then Mark Ingram, he showed he's a definitely must roster because if Kamara's out. Yep. He's getting the workload, and he is effective.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, we haven't actually talked about that. I don't know if we can call that a game.
Yeah.
As for the Titans, though, we kind of talked about earlier, there's not a running back on this roster that you want to start, at least in a smaller league.
No, I mean, Foreman looks great. Peterson, I keep hoping, I keep pulling for him. I say, come on, let's get Peterson in the end zone. It's not happening. McNichols is definitely not being the PPR guy that we thought he was going to be.
But we also haven't seen them play from behind yet either.
Yeah, and that's true too. But I mean, all of a sudden we get a wide receiver 2 out of nowhere this week, and Marcus Johnson for the Titans, and it takes a little bit off of A.J. Brown. But A.J. Brown was still. We
mentioned though, like on Thursday, he was going to be covered by Lattimore, and this stat line shows it.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, man, it's fun to drink at football games, dude. But yeah, I mean, Marcus Johnson could be somebody. I mean, I'm gonna go take a shot on him in a dynasty league because I'm really hurting at wide receiver. I'm really hurting all over the place in the dynasty league, especially with Kamara and Murray out. It's All
right, so our next game we had the Jags at the Colts. Indy won 23-17, and we kind of mentioned it early. There's a reason Darren Arnold's been on my waiver wire ads 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to be Lawrence's favorite target.
Yeah.
Jamal Agnew, he had a couple targets but didn't come down with any catches. But Urban Meyer's using him the way that we wished he used Chenault before.
Yeah. Where is Chenault? Why?
They kind of changed up Chenault's role after the injury, and DJ Chark injury.
Yeah, I mean, he's more of a wide receiver now. So,
but Jamal Agnew, he's one that I considered putting in there, and he's definitely a high ceiling, low floor guy. So if you wanted to take that shot, like you need wins, he may not be a bad guy to add and put on your roster.
Maybe not, but I'm still liking Robinson here for this Jacksonville offense. I mean, 57 yards on the ground, a late touchdown to really salvage his day, but he had 4 receptions for 27 yards. Look, Robinson's not going to win you a league, but he's certainly not going to lose it for you. He's a solid, in my opinion, I think, borderline low RB2, high RB3, if not even a mid RB2. He goes out there and does the thing. But, yeah, I mean, Jamal Agnew, he might be the guy.
He's been exciting to watch, that's for sure. Squid, I definitely agree with you. Marvin Jones and Chenault, they've been disappointments this year. I actually moved on from Marvin Jones, I think, week 3.
Marvin Tron and Chenault Tron. I like that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean,
I like the story that we heard yesterday on that game, though. Jamal Agnew.
Yeah,
his friends started calling him Swagnew. His dad liked it so much he put it on his license plate, and Jamal Agnew's like, I can't do this anymore.
I can't have a nickname. My dad stole it. But yeah, I'm staying away from wide receivers on this team. I mean, Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked...
Except for Agnew.
Right. and Dan Arnold at the tight end position. But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked awful. 16 of 35. That's under a 50% completion percentage. But he's looking better than the start of the season.
But I still don't think he has much of an offensive line there to help him.
He might be a bye week fill-in if you absolutely need it, but I wouldn't hold on to him unless it's a keeper league. And even then, I might not hold on to him.
I mean, it depends on keepers. Like, keeper league, no. Other ones, yes.
Is it a super flex?
Well, not even just that.
Hold him. Well, yeah, you're right.
There's keeper leagues, like, so they'll basically say you can keep a player, but you have to keep him one spot sooner than you draft him. So, like, if you drafted Trevor Lawrence in, like, the 12th, you'd lose your 11th round pick instead. Where in ours, we just go the first 2 picks.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Anyway. So we'll move on to the next game, the Browns and the Patriots.
We're going to do anything about Wentz and the...
Oh, yep, sorry, I missed them.
I mean, Wentz didn't play a very bad game or a very good game. Fantasy-wise, he killed me. I was really hoping to get Jimmy G off of waivers, and it just happened after the 1 o'clock start, and I got stuck with Wentz there because Murray's out for me.
Thing is, Jonathan Taylor, they used him a lot in the first half, and it worked well.
Look, Jonathan Taylor had 93 rushing yards in the first quarter, and he only ended with 116. They, like, completely abandoned the run game with him, and it just...
And that's when we saw the Trevor Lawrence and the Jags start to come back a little bit.
It isn't Wentz's fault that JT is unstoppable. No, you're right. I mean, but this game, it was a tale of 1 quarter and then 3 quarters. Like, Jacksonville outplayed Indianapolis for probably 2.5 quarters. They just had jumped out to such a big lead that they just couldn't overcome it. But yeah, Wentz, man.
Yeah, Squid Indy's defense was good. They were a good play, and they helped me out in the league.
Yeah, I mean, this defense is solid. I mean, the only team the Colts haven't been able to play with this year is the Titans, 0-2 versus them. But I mean, they're a sneaky wild card team right now. And
Michael Pittman, I mentioned he might have a down week. He ended up with 5 receptions, 71 yards.
It's not bad.
Yeah, and then Ryan's favorite thing to yell:
Doyle rules.
Doyle had a decent game as a wide receiver, definitely better than Pitts and Hawkinson, or not Pitts. Gesicki and Hawkinson.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, Taylor does, man, he gets hit a lot. But he had a couple of runs called back. I think he had a 54-yard scamper called back on holding. And, he can just give him more yards. They didn't even give him the ball after that.
I'd be Ryan. I do think that could be a possibility, but it seems like their coach, Frank Reich, he's always kind of tried to use a running back by committee approach. And it always seems like he's always trying to use more than one.
I wonder if Marlon Mack will ever get another shot, or do they let him go?
No, he's still on the roster. I think he's a healthy scratch again this week.
Man, that's sad.
The next game, we had the Browns at the Patriots. New England won this game handedly, 45-7. And the big news that came out of this game, Jacoby Myers finally got a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, 1,500 yards, 1,560 yards before his first NFL receiving touchdown.
1,511 yards, and he had, I can't remember how.
1,560.
131 receptions.
The
great thing is, the whole team went and celebrated with him.
Man, it's crazy, dude. That I didn't expect a blowout like this. I expected New England to kind of surprise people with a win this week, and I picked them last week in our show.
You did.
And holy cow. I mean, Mac Jones, only 4 incompletions. I mean, we knew he was accurate at Bama his redshirt senior year, and he's just continued to play pretty well, in my opinion. He's not fantasy relevant.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jones isn't fantasy relevant because this was probably his ceiling, and that was almost 20 points. Yeah, there's other guys I'd rather take the shot on that can get me more. But Mayfield, he left this game early with a knee injury. They're saying it's just a bruise. He should be back this week.
I'm not going to say Mayfield's a dud.
He's not fantasy relevant.
Not anymore. Man, he's been playing through a lot of injuries this year, and maybe it's what Cleveland wants us to think and wants the media to think. But
I think his contract's end up done at the end of this year, And I don't know that he's worth paying up for.
No, I don't either. I think they let him go.
I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's that elite game changer.
No, he's not going to win you a Super Bowl,
But
that's for sure.
The good thing for the Browns is they're running.
Oh, yeah, I would rather have Mac Jones over Baker Mayfield.
The good thing for the Browns is their running game. Just about any running back you plug in there, they're producing. Ernest Johnson,
Yeah.
what was it, 99 yards on 19 carries, 58 yards on 7 receptions.
Can't be mad about that day.
I actually, because I had Ezekiel Elliott and DeAndre Swift in my lineup, I had him and Mark Ingram on my bench.
Oh, man, that
And
sucks.
those two would have outscored, I think, every receiver I had in my lineup.
I mean, but Landry didn't impress. Hooper, 2-yard receiving touchdown. Hooper, these tight ends are still very touchdown.
I'm not sure you could trust anybody in this passing game right now.
No, not at all. They're all touchdown dependent.
We talked about
Mac 10.
Mac Jones. It's hard to start him in fantasy unless it's a super flex league or 2 QB. I think this is his ceiling, at least this year. Maybe he gets a little bit better, and hopefully he becomes Tom Brady-esque later in his career.
Well, I mean, even when Tom Brady was with New England, I don't know if he was ever fantasy football worthy of QB1 material. You know what I mean? He did really well. He played really well.
Squid, you're not the only one. Ryan
Dude,
has the same issue.
I have Murray and Kamara as well. And, man, in 2 separate leagues I have both those guys, and it really killed me. If I would have had those 2 guys in both leagues, I probably would have. I mean, AFOS's team didn't perform all that great because TB12, my buddy Piku said, TB12 really killed him this week, and I would have had a shot if I would have had those 2. But no, I had to start Colt McCoy.
And then we mentioned Ramondre Stevenson. He looked good.
Ryan, we agree with you, man. It's not there yet, but he outscored Aaron Rodgers this week, Mac Jones.
Yep. Stevenson, he looked good, but I think he moves back to a second / running back by committee guy.
Yeah, I think he's solidified RB2.
Kendrick Bourne looked good this game.
Yeah.
But we talked about Jacoby Myers getting his first touchdown. Do you remember what I said after we found out about that?
No.
He's probably going to get a bunch more right away, right after.
Oh, yeah. If Jacoby Myers is out there, go pick him up. Might as well. I mean, he's good. He's been a good receiver all year.
Yep, it's just been the lack of touchdowns.
Right.
All right, so we'll move on to the next game, the Bills at the Jets.
Did anybody watch this game?
Buffalo won 45-17. Interesting trade there. I mean, both guys have kind of underperformed what you'd want right there. Myers for Ayuk.
Yeah.
I think I prefer Ayuk at this point, but
He got
that one
Ayuk.
could be. Yeah, that one it could go either way. But Buffalo kind of looked back to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Josh Allen went 21-28, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thing that's scaring me is Beasley's just kind of outside now. Like
He's
he only had 2 receptions this game.
outside looking in, man. I mean, Gabriel Davis, he's starting to come around. He's starting to get a little more touches. I mean, he's got good size. He's got good speed, good hands. I think it was just a matter of time. Was he going to be the next Denzel Mims? Well, I mean, they're in the same class, but this is what you want if you went out and got this guy.
The guy that scored the guy that just kind of surprised everybody, that didn't help anybody in fantasy that I know of, Matt Breida.
He was 0% started in all of like the NFL something leagues, right? And 6 snaps, he had 3 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown, and 3 receptions for 22 yards and a touchdown.
I think the only thing you can really take away from this is they don't trust Singletary.
They don't trust Zach Moss.
Well,
either.
Zach Moss was just coming off of a concussion, got cleared late in the week.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm staying away from any of these running backs anyway, regardless of what their name is.
And then as for the other side,
Unless it's Josh Allen.
Mike White kind of
Which only had
he
3.
regressed a lot. Flacco came in. He went 3 for 3, 47 yards and 1 TD.
Flacco. Throwing bombs like Flacco.
He just likes to do that every time.
Yeah, it's from a song I'm in love with Chipotle.
But Michael
too,
Carter, I think he's really only relevant while Mike White is out there. At least for now.
That might be the case, but they really don't have anybody else that they're. I mean, Tyler Johnson, also running back 2 material.
Only if
When
in
Mike
PPR.
White's in there, yeah. because of his receptions. But I mean, Carter's shown some good skills back there.
I think he's definitely the best running back on this roster. But like I said, it's only while they're throwing to him.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of upside for sure, but not this year's going to be hard.
Yep.
It's just going to be volume, which is going to make him fantasy relevant as probably an RB2 going forward.
Yep, and then Corey Davis, 5 receptions, 93 yards. The good news is, though, we're seeing more produce even with Corey Davis back.
Yeah, I mean,
3 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown.
I mean, both of these guys put up 13 and 14 points, 14 for Davis and 13 for Moore. Not a bad day. If it's a PPR league, that is.
I'm still hesitant to start the Jets, but Moore could be an upside flyer.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to this debacle.
Here you go.
The Lions and the Steelers tied at 16 apiece, and in overtime, it just looked like no one wanted to win this game.
There were 5 possessions in overtime. Well, 6. 6 possessions in overtime.
Yep.
Oh, man, it was ugly.
But Jared Goff...
So I'm not going to count that
Jared
last
Goff
one.
was struggling with the strained oblique. We could see David Blau this week, but you're not starting one of these QBs.
I mean, let's look at it this way. Jared Goff is QB1 in Detroit, and he's putting up horrendous numbers. Either he's not good, and the offense in LA made him look good. But yeah, you're not going to trust David Blau.
I mean, it doesn't help that he doesn't have a true wide receiver 1. Deandre Swifto came out of the bye and gets 33 carries for 130 yards.
Yeah.
This is the kind of work we've been wanting to see for him.
It would have been nice if one of those rushing touchdowns went to him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know you had him on your bench this week.
No, I had him on the bench in one league.
Well, that was
but not in our league of record. Yeah. The funny thing is, Godwin
Igwebuike,
he had the longest rushing touchdown on the road for the Lions since Barry Sanders played for the Lions.
Was that 1995?
So, and he's their 4th string running back.
Yeah, I mean, you're avoiding this offense, and I'm almost getting to the point where I'm about to sell Hawkinson. I'm going to try to get whatever the heck I can for him.
Fair, but the thing about Hawkinson, he has that capability of being the number 1 tight end all week. He's just, right now, he's getting the Kyle Pitts treatment. He's the best receiver on that team. Well, in this case, I'd probably say second best because Swift is really good. But
yeah.
Jamar Jefferson's a name I kind of want to bring up. He's interesting in Dynasty as like a handcuff / committee to Swift in the future. Maybe not this year, but in the future.
Okay.
I liked what he did at Oregon State, and
I mean, he's fast.
Yeah.
This kid is quick, but Amon-Ra St. Brown is starting to turn it on a little bit. 4 receptions, 61 yards. It's not great. You're not throwing him in there.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions draft an early wide receiver this year.
I would say they need a quarterback first.
They did just sign Josh Reynolds. So, I know he's not number 1, but it could help relieve some of the stress off of Hawkinson.
Well,
which he only had 1 target.
I think Jared Goff is not the answer for the Lions.
He's not. He's a stopgap. As for the Steelers, Mason Rudolph, he actually had a decent fantasy game.
Yeah, he's 60% completion percentage.
He threw the ball 50 times this game for 242 yards.
But I mean,
this offense though, they need Roethlisberger back.
Yeah, they need Roethlisberger back. Najee Harris just doesn't have. Every time he touches the ball, it's almost like he's getting hit in the backfield. I just don't understand how you could draft Najee Harris as high as they did in this offensive line, not be able to block for him. Well,
that's what they were saying right away. Is like he's going to be used, but he doesn't have an offensive line.
No, and it's rough for managers that have Harris on their roster. But I mean, this offense looked okay.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson and Ray McLeod, if you had them, they got you. They got you to where they needed to go.
Yeah, I picked up the wrong person. I picked up Washington.
But Freiermuth, man, he really fumbled this game away.
Literally, and he didn't put up highly impressive numbers. I mean, he had better numbers than Hawkinson.
Well, it didn't help Ebron was back, but Honestly, I think he's a better option when Roethlisberger's out there.
Look, this was an ugly game all around. I know the weather was bad. It was like freezing rain, snow, sleety, whatever. But awful, man. I wouldn't put too much on this game. I would temper and even drastically lower any expectations for Lions players.
Yeah.
And Steelers if Mason Rudolph continues to be the starting quarterback.
Yep. And then we'll move on to the second big shocker of the week. The Washington football team beats the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 29-19.
Ja.
That last drive for Washington, they took so much time off the clock. I think there was only like 2 possessions in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Heineke did the damn thing. 26 of 32. That's impressive for 256 yards. Only 1 touchdown. But, I mean, he managed that game, and
Gibson came out to play. 24 carries, 64 yards, 2 TDs, 2 receptions, 14 yards. He's a guy that I benched in a couple leagues just because he's been injured. He hasn't been getting the workload, and he was playing Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I mean, this whole offense seemed to do well. I mean, McLaurin, 6 receptions for 59 yards, and he battled some injuries. Is it DeAndre Carter?
Yeah, I think so.
Not a bad day, 56 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones, he left early, I think, with an injury, but
hopefully Logan Thomas is back next week.
Yeah, possibly.
But yeah, as for the Bucs,
really the only person to really write home about is Godwin. 7 receptions, 57 yards.
Evans had a good fantasy day, but still only on 2 receptions, which we see this from him too often.
Yeah, he's high ceiling, low floor.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Brady didn't really do well. I mean, 23 of 34, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I thought he had a fumble too, but I could be wrong.
So we'll move on to the next game. This one had Ryan reeling all day.
Man, I'm so mad.
The Panthers at the Cardinals. Panthers won 34-10. Honestly, this game's going to be tough to talk about. Newton, I think he's going to be taking over quarterback, which could bode well for Robbie Anderson because he seemed to get the targets from Newton. But
yeah.
McCaffrey, he looks good. And I think if McCaffrey goes down again, this becomes more of a
running back by committee
than it was earlier in the year because Amir Abdul is looking good as well as Hubbard.
Yeah, I mean, still McCaffrey just did McCaffrey things, and if you drafted him first overall in your league, you're happy to see him back with this capacity of touches. I mean, 23 touches for what's the math here? 156 yards, right?
Yeah, as for the Cardinals, I don't think there's enough to talk about here.
161.
McCoy got hurt during this game, but he was pretty much a non-factor.
I mean, first drive he fumbles, gives the ball a short field. Next drive he throws an interception, gives Carolina a short field. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor is probably the only one that had a good game for you.
Kirk had an okay game. 7 receptions, 58 yards.
Yeah.
Like as you said, McCoy left this game, but I think he could be ready for Sunday. But there's 2 thoughts on this. Do you let Murray and Hopkins sit this next week and let them get 2 extra weeks of rest because they got to bye the week after? Or do you run them out? And I think Murray's the one that they're going to run out more likely than Hopkins.
Yeah, I think just because you want your game reps for your QB, right?
Not only that,
wide receivers you have to keep healthy, and it's okay if they miss a couple games here and there.
Not only this though, this division is tough.
It's close,
and you've got to go out there and win every week.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the first round bye and you want that 1 seed,
not even that. If you just want to make the playoffs in this division,
I mean, I think this division takes up 3 spots in the NFC wild card.
It's possible, but it's tough for a division to do that just because they're beating up on each other so much.
Yeah, I still think I still see it, man. Yeah, I think you got to throw Murray back out there if he's ready. I mean, it was a game time decision for the 2nd week in a row. How many times can you be game time decision and not?
I think he said he looked good during warm-ups. They wanted to give him 1 more week.
Well, he better.
And I think they kind of felt comfortable doing that since they pulled off the win the week before.
Yeah, and they got embarrassed. I don't care if it's Colt
But
McCoy.
even if Murray's out there, they still may get embarrassed. It's not like he's going to fix the defense.
No, but I don't think fumbling the ball on the first opening drive of the game on your own 9-yard line is...
I mean, that's still possible that Murray could do that.
I'm simply saying.
I know.
It's a lot easier to game plan for Colt frickin' McCoy than it is for Kyler Murray.
Fair.
So, I don't know. Let's move on.
So, our next game, this game actually was interesting
down.
as well. The Vikings at the Chargers. The Vikings ended up winning 27-20. And I made the pick of the Vikings on our podcast, but forgot to change it in the app, so I didn't get the win on this one.
You boo-boo.
Cousins, he's kind of looked good out there. And he's done this all year. He's been quietly good.
I mean, it wasn't an overly impressive completion percentage. I mean, 25 or 37, not bad. I mean, you're not gonna.
I mean, that's about average or better.
Yeah, that's an okay. 294, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumbled loss. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a pinch for a QB, Kirk Cousins is not a bad option.
If you're like me and kind of waited, and now you're just kind of playing the streaming game.
Streaming QBs.
Dalvin Cook, 29. I'd avoid Cousins this week though against the Packers.
That's fair.
Dalvin Cook, 24 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. It's just what Dalvin Cook does.
Yeah, you're putting him in there.
Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions, 143 yards. Thielen, 5 receptions, 65 yards.
Well, hi, Sky.
I remember reading something yesterday. Between this game and the Packers-Seahawks game, there were 6 wide receivers drafted to be top 20 receivers, and not one of them scored a touchdown. As for the Chargers, Herbert's he's definitely cooled off.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like ever since that Ravens game, they just haven't been the same.
And then Eckler, he had a decent day, nothing great, but he was vultured by Roundtree. Keenan Allen, though, he's taken over as the guy again.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely back to peak form, I mean, they have to throw the ball so darn much that I still think Allen, Williams, maybe even Palmer coming up here, and Parham seems to be the guy at tight end more often than not. Are we?
No, we're still good. I checked it.
You're not playing though.
I was.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, I mean, I think Parham is going to start getting more targets than Cook.
Yep. I will say, Mike Williams, he's not getting the targets he had earlier in the year.
Now,
He was getting double-digit targets almost every game. Now he's at most getting 6 targets a game, which isn't going to kill you if he's converting on them.
No. I had a bloody nose earlier. I feel like I have another one coming.
All right, our next game, we had the Eagles at the Broncos. The Eagles won 30-13, and Jalen Hurts,
A very efficient game.
efficient.